Welcome to CINEPRO, where we bring your favorite movies back to life with quick recaps, hidden details, and everything you missed. Our movie begins with two brothers named Corey and Jeffrey, who are serial killers. They kidnap victims and sell their organs for money, and the police can't catch them because they hide their real identities as paramedics. One day, Corey is sitting with his brother Jeffrey in the ambulance, explaining to him the anatomy curriculum in medicine and teaching him how to cut up victims and extract the important organs. Corey is a skilled doctor, while his brother Jeffrey is an adult man but has the mind of a 6-year-old child. Corey is close to his brother because he's the only one he trusts and wants to make him his assistant in the organ theft operation. Suddenly, they get a call from a girl asking for help because a knife has cut her hand and she's bleeding heavily. They rush to the location and refuse to let her husband come with them to the hospital, claiming the police might accuse him of causing the injury. The man listens and stays at home. The two brothers take the victim so they can be alone with her and carry out their mission. On the way, Jeffrey talks to the victim to comfort her and gives her anesthetic gas instead of oxygen. When the victim passes out from the drug, she wakes up tied to a bed in a morgue, and her organs are being removed while she's still alive. She screams hysterically and tries to call for help, but Jeffrey cuts her vocal cords with a knife so she can't scream or make a sound. On another day, they deliver her organs to important people for money. And we learn that Corey and Jeffrey have been in the organ trade for many years, ever since their older sister died. It became the only way for them to make a living. A girl named Cindy appears, a medical student on a trip in the forest with her friends Haley and Rebecca. Suddenly, Cindy falls while walking and breaks her leg. Her friends quickly call an ambulance, and Corey and Jeffrey arrive. As usual, they prevent her friends from coming with her in the ambulance and drive quickly to their secret hideout in the forest. During the dissection, Jeffrey notices something strange. This victim looks exactly like their sister who died years ago. They remember their past with their sister, making it hard for them to go through with the dissection, so they decide to postpone it until they figure out how to deal with their strange feelings toward the victim. Cindy wakes up, terrified and scared of the place she's in, calling out for help until she loses hope. She realizes she's fallen into the hands of a gang and doesn't know what her fate will be, and with her leg broken, she can't escape. She falls asleep from exhaustion on the bed, waiting to see what will happen. The next day, Corey comes in with food and juice for her. She refuses to eat and asks who he is and what he wants from her. He approaches her and tries to rape her, but Cindy hits him hard in the face, injuring him. He gets angry and tells her she's forbidden from eating until she learns to speak politely, then leaves her alone in the room, turning off the light, and she's petrified with fear. After a few days, Jeffrey comes in and observes her, noticing how much she resembles their dead sister. Cindy wakes up startled and kicks him in the face, frightening Jeffrey, who flees the room. Cindy then eats the food off the floor like an animal because she's been starving for days. Corey watches everything through surveillance cameras set up everywhere. Later, Corey and his brother come in with a splint to treat her broken leg. Corey asks her to let him treat her leg, but Cindy refuses to talk to him, insults him, and asks him to let her go, promising not to testify against them. Corey gets angry and decides to break her leg further as punishment for her behavior. He takes out painkillers and tells her to behave politely if she wants the painkillers. Cindy agrees and complies because of the severe pain. Corey puts the splint on her and leaves the room with his brother. At night, Jeffrey is in his room, looking at a picture of their dead sister, sad and crying over her loss. Corey comes in and tells him there's nothing they can do except pray for her, hugging him to comfort him. Jeffrey then goes out to a distant place to cry and express his grief over his sister, whom he was very attached to. He doesn't want to cry in front of Corey so Corey won't think he's weak. The next day, Corey goes to Cindy's room and notices she's in better shape and behaving politely, so he starts talking to her to find out her story. Even though he's wary of her strange behavior, he wants to know more about her life. Cindy deduces that Corey is involved in organ trafficking with his brother and asks him why he does it. He tells her he's not a monster, but helps people suffering from deadly diseases due to organ failure by giving them the organs they need to save their lives. He says he saves some people at the expense of others who didn't appreciate the blessings in their bodies. Cindy objects to his reasoning and accuses him of being crazy because he kills innocent people. She realizes she can make his brother rebel against him to escape. Corey is impressed by her courage and decides to test her, delaying his decision to kill her to see what she'll do. The next day, Jeffrey brings her food, and Cindy tries to win his trust. Jeffrey becomes conflicted between memories of his sister and Cindy, who looks so much like her. He decides to protect Cindy, believing his sister's spirit has taken form in this girl. He tries to prevent Corey from killing her so he doesn't lose his sister again. One day, Corey prepares to dissect Cindy's body. Jeffrey senses what his brother is about to do and asks Corey to forget the idea and let her live as long as she's locked in the room and can't escape. But Corey doesn't care and leaves. Corey goes to Cindy's room and asks about her medical history to ensure her organs are healthy and can be sold for a good price. He accidentally learns she's a medical student from the way she talks and the questions she asks. Despite everything, she assures him she's healthy and isn't afraid of death because she knows Jeffrey won't agree to kill her. The next day, Jeffrey enters, and Cindy asks him to come closer so she can gain his trust. Jeffrey starts talking to her and tells her they began killing after their sister died of heart failure, and they couldn't find her a donor. She fulfilled her life, then died after she had been everything in their lives. And since then, they decided to hide the victim so they could get rid of everyone who dies. And they refused to kill Cindy because she resembled their dead sister exactly. And at that moment, Cindy decides to take advantage of Jeffrey's slow mind and pretends to be his sister so she can control his thinking. And at that time, she says that she doesn't agree with what is happening. She suggests to him that they both run away from the place so they can live far from Corey's evil and start a new life. Jeffrey agrees with her and promises to protect her from anyone, no matter who it is. But Corey is listening and watching everything through the surveillance cameras, and he finds out that his brother is planning to run away with Cindy. Jeffrey returns home and finds Corey waiting for him, asking him to resume their work because they have stopped for a while and need money. Jeffrey thinks he means they should get rid of Cindy, and he collapses and has seizures because he is like a child and doesn't want to lose his sister again. But at that moment, Corey reassures him and tells him he means killing other victims, not Cindy, and they actually go and kidnap a victim, a young man in his 20s. They tie Cindy up in front of the victim and make her watch the dissection with her own eyes. Cindy is devastated and screams at the horrific scene she is witnessing, but she is unable to move or do anything. At that moment, Corey tells her the same thing will happen to her as to the victim if she keeps trying to make his brother rebel against him and pretends to be his sister because of his slow mind. Because of the scene she sees, Cindy loses consciousness, and the next day, Cindy wakes up in the morgue and finds herself surrounded by the blood of the dissected victim. Jeffrey comes to her and apologizes for the scene she saw, but she tells him she knows he is not the reason, and that his brother is the reason, because he controls everything and might one day decide to kill her like he does with the other victims. Jeffrey becomes very afraid for her and reassures her that he will help her escape at the strangest time. Then Jeffrey returns home, and Corey knows about his brother's plan because he is watching him all the time. At that moment, Corey reassures him that he will not kill her, and that he will also let her live with them in the house. Jeffrey is happy, and believes his brother will not kill her, and Corey asks his brother Jeffrey to go buy supplies from a distant place under the pretense that he is preparing for Cindy to live with them in the house. At that time, Corey takes advantage of his brother's absence and drugs Cindy until she loses consciousness. Then he sews her mouth shut with stitches so she can't try to talk and mess with his brother's mind again. Jeffrey suddenly returns during the operation and is shocked to find Cindy being prepared for dissection. At that moment, he attacks Corey and beats him until he passes out. He manages to save Cindy and removes the stitches from her mouth. While Jeffrey is busy saving her, Cindy hits him with the oxygen tank and he falls to the ground unconscious. Finally, Cindy manages to escape from the place. After that, Jeffrey and Corey wake up from their fainting and discover that the girl deceived them both and managed to escape by exploiting their family disunity. The two brothers apologize to each other and everything returns to normal. A year passes. Jeffrey and Corey have returned to their old work of kidnapping and trafficking victims. One day, they get a call about an injured girl in the forest, so they go to pick her up. At that moment, it turns out to be a trap set by Cindy and her friends. Haley and Rebecca appear and stun them with electric shocks. It turns out Cindy refused to call the police because she wants to punish them herself for all the victims they killed. Corey wakes up from his fainting and finds himself tied up in the same room Cindy was imprisoned in a year ago. The roles are reversed, and now both brothers are at her mercy. Cindy tells him she spent a whole year planning for this moment. Suddenly, her friends appear, and it turns out they are the families of the victims killed by Corey and Jeffrey long ago, so everyone can take their revenge. But something strange happens. A red light turns on in the room, meaning there is an organ trafficking deal happening and the client is waiting for the delivery from Corey and Jeffrey. Cindy leaves the room to meet the client herself so she can escape, but he thinks she works with the gang and offers a large sum to complete the deal. Cindy asks him to wait an hour and goes out to deliver the organs of the two brothers, Corey and Jeffrey, and receives the money in exchange. Then Cindy returns to the room, and we see the victims' families gathered, cutting up their bodies in revenge for everything they did. If you liked today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all new updates. See you in the next video.